Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As you probably know, former President Donald Trump addressed the crowds, the attendees at CPAC in Texas, in Dallas. And he obviously made certain comments about certain things. That's why he had his speech. And one of those comments was not received very well by our friends on the authoritarian side of the society, or the children side of society, however you want to call it. And this article comes from The Insider from August 7th, 2022. Crowd cheers as Trump calls for the abolition of the Department of Education. Video shows. I don't care if it's the video, I don't care if it's the audio, he says this. So, all right, let's see. Former President Donald Trump called for the abolition of the U.S. Department of Education on Saturday. He spoke at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, in Dallas, Texas on Saturday. Video shows that the call for the department's abolition was met with rapturous applause. All right, former President Donald Trump called for the U.S. Department of Education abolition during his Saturday speech. Okay, Trump told the crowd that prohibitions need to be brought in on teaching, quote-unquote, inappropriate racial, sexual, and political material to American school children. And then if federal bureaucrats are going to push this radicalism, we should abolish the Department of Education, he continued. This part of the speech, a video shows, appeared to receive rapturous applause. Last month, former Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, who served in Trump's administration, told the Conservative Education Summit that the department she once led for 4 years should be abolished. And I am quoting what DeVos said. I personally think the Department of Education should not exist, DeVos at the Moms for Liberty Summit said in Florida. DeVos argued that the federal department should be abolished to leave education policy decisions to state and local boards, according to Florida Phoenix. This was also met with cheers. So what's wrong with that? You try to say that it's something wrong with that people have a different take on things. Freedom, and how do you call it? Diversity of opinion is not allowed, because that's how it actually started, the word diversity here. And in diversity, it starts from diversity of ideas. That's how we started, not racial diversity. That was not the point initially. Probably in their brains, the ones who pushed it was that kind of thing, but not now. You can't have a diversity of opinion, because if you have it, you're called names by the same tolerant group. Indeed, the calls for abolishing the federal agency proceed, DeVos. Representative Thomas Massey backed the representative introducing a bill with Matt Gaetz, just a bill to abolish the U.S. Department of Education. Unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. should not be in charge of our children's intellectual and moral development, said Massey in February 2021. Now, according to Chicago Tribune, Republicans have long wanted to eliminate the department because they see education policy as falling within the remit of states and local communities and not the federal government. I agree with that stance, where I don't think that anybody but me, the parent, the father, I am your father. Okay, so the father should be the one in charge of the child's moral development, and not only moral development, social development, as the child interacts in society. It should be mine, not another person, a stranger, who's going to tell my child how to view certain policies in life, in the society. If you want to have that, you can have it at a higher level, at the college level if you want, and there should be a elective, not a mandatory requirement. That is, if you want to learn about the government and you want to learn about this issue or that issue, we got men, women, marriage, things should be your decision to open your brain to knowledge when you're open, when you're capable of discerning. Yes, when you're mature enough with your brain developed and you had enough basic information to be able to know what's logic, what's natural, what is if you have this and you drop it, what's going to happen? It's going to go down, it's not going to go up, things like this. And then based on that, when they tell you that actually some things, if you drop them, go up, you say, wait a second. But if you tell a child since he's in the second grader, oh, if you drop the phone, it might also go up, if without even pushing it, it just goes down. The gravity doesn't work, or sometimes works, and so on. When you do this, you're going to change the child's perception of reality, and then you can model it the way you want it. Now, when you have the government writing the curriculum, and then you have these teachers who are, as I said, strangers, and they have their limitations, as we all do, in charge of teaching your child that this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, that's what it is, and this is not it is. No, that's not your duty. Then give me your child, teacher, and let me teach your child a few things that I think are good. So you see, you would not do that. Why would I want to do that? I want the government, even though it's not in the Constitution, as far as I know, any Department of Education, they should be left the communities and to individuals, especially the moral teachings or the way you act. Because I want my kid to succeed in life. I don't think the government wants my kid to succeed in life. I think my government wants my kid to go and work like a little rodent over there and pay taxes and keep his mouth shut. That's all, and consume. These are the requirements. So you're gonna shape my child that way and accept whatever the trend is, the fad at that time. And I disagree with that. That should be my duty to make the child succeed, provide my child with the social weapons and skills to go out there and succeed. Work hard, be honest, save, don't consume like a crazy, postpone gratification, don't have kids when your thing just goes hard and your thing is ready. No, use certain things, postpone it until you're able to take care of your kids. Don't shift responsibility, don't place your problems on other people, be responsible. These are things. Go and use your intellect, question things, be skeptical, learn, understand, debate, talk. These are the values I want. I don't want to tell you, actually, if it's okay, and this is an example, okay? It's okay, for instance, to an adult male, for instance, to go and place his pee-pee into a goat's butt. Okay? I don't want this kind of teachings for my kid, and that might come in the future as being normal. That's not normal. It's my duty to teach my child this is not normal. And if someone teaches my child that way, that should be their criminality, their way of that's their right to teach the child. Oh, it's abuse? Says who? Who's in charge of my child? Or you abuse another kid? Whose responsibility is the kid? Is the government or mine? Well, if you abuse it, according to whose standards? And this is an ideology thing. Mental abuse. Mental abuse, you can, it's very, very much debatable. If the kid feels uncomfortable because you told the kid, go and clean your room because you're dirty, and you do that 50 times and it's a pattern, is that mental abuse already? Well, am I not supposed to tell my kid that because the kid was affected, he's mentally affected by the fact that he or she has to go and clean his room, his garbage? So what should I do? Never tell? Should I pick up the garbage for him? Or you tell me what to do? No, you need to clean your room. If that affects you, then don't change the condition. Go and don't be messy. And then you learn. What is this? And it's going to be considered, if you got a psychologist or psychiatrist saying, oh my God, that's mental abuse, you're toast. You are toast. Because the kid is uncomfortable. He makes me clean my room. Abuse, right there. Yeah, all right. Leave that to the side. I think it's my duty. The government should teach my child to add, to subtract, percentages, tell my child about the world, the populations, the countries, the capitals, the geographical, the relief, the mountains, the rivers. Yeah, that's great. Tell a few things, general things about history, but without putting your interpretation. That was a good thing, this was a bad thing. Because you can portray certain things always bad or good according to the political stance of the government at that point. You can call this country an enemy that was then, but now is a friend, and so on. So no, don't place these kind of things. Well, say, okay, this guy did this to this guy did this to this, and then have 3 lessons telling about this guy or this country or this is bad. Let the kid or the person decide that when his brain is ready for that, because otherwise I don't like to expose a kid to a certain ideology since it's small. It's hard to beat that out of the kid when he gets older. It's hard. So that's why they try to insert the ideology in the kids' brains now. That is like sponges. They don't know what's right and wrong. No, that's not your duty. No, it's not. So, and besides, we have these guys who are not teachers. Most of them, no, most, I don't want to make a percentage, but some of them, let's put it nicely. Some of them are not really, I'm going to teach the child to succeed. No, I have my agenda. I'm a hack. I'm an activist. I met these kind of people, activist. Watch TikTok if you don't believe me. Watch YouTube and see certain teachers, what they really say. Certain are very good, certain are average like everywhere else. But what do you do with the bad ones? Meaning the ones that are activists and teach your children to accept certain perversions. Yes, perversion. Perversion is something that is out of the natural. And maybe I, the father, disagree with that kind of ideology. And it's my job to teach my child that. Not yours, the teacher, not yours, the government. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.